You're an open critic of using the school system to carry out forced integration of ethnic and religious communities in England. Where do you feel that it's failed?
There's three things. I think the first thing to bear in mind is that schools are not physical entities, but rather part and parcel of a wider community. It's associated with kind of memory, with identity, etc. So that's my first point. The second thing related to that is that an analysis of the way in which most of these school integration schemes are actually kind of played out in Oldham and various other towns. One of the things that you will actually find is that there's a great deal of reluctance and also hostility against the government initiatives. And there are two reasons for that. The firstly is that local communities actually kind of have a certain reluctance in accepting large influx of ethnic minority community, whether it be Asians or Muslims, etc. And that's because it's perceived that it will undermine or devalue the quality of education. And also the perception is that will lead to some form of kind of multiculturalism, which will be kind of enforced onto the school curriculum, etc., and which might translate into people wearing different types of clothes, having different types of kind of food on display in the school canteens. When you actually have those hostility or those issues actually taking place, that you have an idea of segregation between schools being replaced with segregation within schools. Asian communities tend to actually see mixed schools as an ideal type, because if you there's a tendency to actually associate kind of monocultural kind of communities with poor education kind of results. So mixed schools, as far as Asian communities are concerned, are actually perceived as an ideal kind of a type of education.
Do you feel that there's still a widespread reluctance to accept Muslims as fellow citizens?
Yeah. I think if you look at that particular question within the context of post-September 11th and also the London bombings in 2005, I think there's been a hostile environment that's actually generated in some areas where a perceived Muslim identity is kind of challenged, and a great deal of kind of hostility is actually kind of targeted against those groups. It's usually associated with individuals that have visual markers of religious identity. So it might be young people with some beard or with a skull cap, or Muslim women wearing the headscarves, or Asian men or women who might not necessarily kind of be Muslims. Those individuals are also kind of targeted as well.
How do you believe that faith schools can lead to social benefits?
I think my point in making the argument of faith schools can actually lead to increased levels of citizenship or better integration is actually based upon an idea, and that basically is if an individual has a very firm commitment to his or her identity, and if a person is very confident in their own identity and in their own worldview, that basically allows them to become much confident individuals for the wider society. So the idea that basically if an individual has confidence in their faith or their religious identity, then that will actually allow them to actually become much better kind of citizens in the future. It's not predicated on a theory or an idea, but that's actually confirmed to me by the number of individuals that I've actually kind of interviewed within faith school kind of context. Because the argument is that a faith school actually allows them to develop a space that allows them to actually question their own faith, actually questions their faith in relation to the wider society, etc. So it does kind of generate some critical kind of thinking in individuals. So once again, I'm questioning the assumption that just because someone actually attends a faith school, that they will somehow become less intolerant or less kind of integrated individuals in the future.
The University of Huddersfield, inspiring tomorrow's professionals.